While watching The Crown, it is natural to debate within yourself which of the events are fiction and which of them are true life events. The series contains many historical figures, dramatic royal events which happened in the past, and a sneak peek into the lives of the royal family in Buckingham Palace. However, as we know, to make this into an enjoyable series, the producers employ an awful amount of dramatic license to create a great story. In this video, we will be separating fact from fiction. Make sure you stay till the end so you don't miss out on anything. But first, a simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We are giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's all your choice, so be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter this giveaway. It's really that simple. We will kick off this video with the words of Robert Lacey, a royal historian. He said, "What you see is both invented and true." Robert Lacey also acts as the historical consultant on the show. The Crown is a series that relies heavily on research, fact, and real historical events. Now, let's take a look at major events in the series and analyze them. The assassination of Lord Mountbatten. In the first episode of the 4th season, we see the death of Lord Mountbatten. The role was played by Charles Dance, and his character died in an explosion that was orchestrated by the IRA, that is the Provisional Irish Republican Army. This is a true event which happened in real life, killing 3 others, 2 teenage boys. One was the grandson of Lord Mountbatten, while the other was a local fisherman's hand named Paul Maxwell. An older woman was also killed in the explosion. However, the event didn't happen the way we saw it on screen. According to the real records of the event, Lord Mountbatten didn't die immediately after the blast happened. In the real event, he was pulled out of the wreckage on his private boat in Mulligamore County, Sligo. But as he was being brought to shore, he died. In the series, Prince Charles is shown to be heavily affected by the death of Lord Mountbatten, a person he shared a close relationship with. In the scene after the explosion, we see him reading a letter from his grandfather that he had written just before his death. The engagement of Diana and Princess Charles. In the series, we also encounter a fictionalized version of the first meeting between Prince Charles and Lady Diana Spencer. This happened while he was visiting Diana's family home with her sister, Lady Sarah McCorquodale. At the time of the visit, Diana was just 16. In 1981, Prince Charles said that the first time he met Diana, he had thought she would be a very jolly and amusing and attractive 16-year-old. In an interview with her speech coach, Diana says something also. She mentions that she told him that he looked lonely and it was pathetic seeing him like that, also mentioning that he needed someone by his side. However, we don't see this in the series, but the series shows Charles pursuing Diana, even inviting her to the royal family's Scottish residence, Balmoral. This is where she impresses the family, especially Charles's father, Prince Philip. It is Prince Philip who puts pressure on his own son to propose to Diana. The show actually goes an extra mile by exploring the uncertainty of Charles, and even suggesting that he still has feelings for Camilla Parker Bowles. However, there is no concrete proof to show that this was the case in real life. The missing son of Margaret Thatcher. This actually happened. Thatcher's son actually went missing in the desert. However, the biographer of the Prime Minister, Charles Moore, says the show's timing of it happening is not true. In the show, it is pointed out that this happens just as the Falklands were invaded. Moore disagrees. In The Telegraph, he writes, "There are several such significant fact skewings in the 4th season, and, according to him, most of these involve political events." He particularly mentions an event that happens near the end of the season. He writes, "Mrs. Thatcher wins the first ballot in the leadership challenge of 1990 by only 4 votes. Colleagues say she must go." "No," she tells Dennis excitedly, "I still have 1 card to play." Now, the series says that she then goes to the palace and begs the Queen to dissolve the Parliament so she can be saved from resignation. Moore says this is factual nonsense. Also, it is a slap on the face of the charismatic and strong Thatcher character the series has built up. Nevertheless, Moore believes that the show rightly portrayed Mrs. Thatcher as a woman of honor, great ardor, and one who respected constitutional laws. Does the Queen have a favorite child? In the 4th episode in the 4th season, we see Prince Philip teasing the Queen. He mentions to her that she has a favorite child. In a bid to reassure herself that she does not have a favorite child, she organizes a one-on-one conversation with each of her children, and she consequently concludes that they are all lost. But we have have reason to believe that this might have changed when it was reported that Prince Andrew is linked to Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted sex offender. Interestingly, a woman who was also one of the victims of Epstein came forward with a claim. She claimed that she was forced to have sex with Epstein and Prince Andrew. Immediately, the Duke of York denied this allegation. Today, Andrew has stepped down from his royal duties, and there is one scene in the new season that references the allegations: the Aberfan disaster. In the third season of the series, we are shown the Aberfan disaster, the collapse of a mining tip in a coal mining village in South Wales. This tragedy actually happened, and it claimed the lives of 144 people, and many of them were children from the local school. But there is a debate as regards to the relation of the monarchy to the tragedy. In the episode of the disaster, the Queen is heard saying, "We don't do disaster sites, we do hospitals." Naturally, the Queen did not pay a visit to Aberfan immediately after the tragedy, even though Prince Philip and Lord Snowdon, her brother-in-law, did. In the show, she visits Aberfan after 8 days, and this is historically correct. She comes off as cold and unemotional about the whole thing, but she sheds a tear when the mourners sing a hymn to honor the dead. Now, here's the debate. We can never tell for sure how the Queen felt at the time of the disaster. Portraying her that way by the creators of the show was preposterous, especially when there wasn't any proof to know exactly how the Queen felt at the time. Did the royal family actually film an entire documentary about their lives? Interesting. The documentary covers trivial events like eating dinner together to the Queen meeting with world leaders. Was Prince Philip made the Prince of the United Kingdom? In the second season of the show, we are given more insight into the lives and marriage of the Queen and Prince Philip. His infidelity, unhappiness, and uncertainty as to his role in the royal family are all suggested. The couple suffer several challenges, and it becomes worse in the third season when the prince returns from his Royal Australian tour. In a particular episode, the prince opens up about his unhappiness. He mentions the fact that he hates being outranked by his own son. At the end of the episode, he is made the Prince of the United Kingdom. As funny as it sounds, it actually happened in 1957. He was made a prince, but we are not sure exactly why it happened. Was it really because of this unhappiness? While we might never know, we have reason to believe that there is an iota of truth in the dramatic license that the show pulled off. The Duke of Windsor and his support for the Nazi movement. In the second season of the show, we are shown that the former king, Edward, is a Nazi sympathizer. The show even points out that he visited a Nazi concentration camp. He also shows his support for Adolf Hitler. In reality, we are not too sure. This is because the entire story is a bit foggy. In 1937, King Edward and his wife, Wallis Simpson, visited the former German leader. It has also been reported that the Duke of Windsor saluted Hitler in the Nazi army when he visited. Royal biographer Andrew Morton has also mentioned in his book that the Duke was sympathetic towards the regime of Hitler. According to the historian, King Edward believed that Hitler was a good man who was doing a good job in Germany. Just like the show suggests, members of the royal family did not like and support the Duke. It has also been alleged that the Nazis wanted to overthrow the monarchy so that they could make the Duke of Windsor the king. Both in the series and in real life, this never happened. Princess Margaret and Peter Townsend. One of the saddest storylines in the first season is the love story of Princess Margaret and Peter Townsend. Margaret was 22 when she told her sister that she wanted to marry the query of their late father, Peter Townsend. It looked impossible. The church was going to kick against it, and the government would also kick against a marriage between a former divorcee and senior member of the royal family. In the history books, it is Sir Anthony Eden, the prime minister at that time, that comes up with an answer. He says that Margaret will marry Peter only on the condition that all their children will be removed from the line of succession. Eventually, Margaret decides not to marry Townsend, but we will never know the real reason why. Will there be more facts to debate in the newer episodes of the series? You bet there will be. And with that, we wrap up this video. Thanks for watching.
When it comes to the royal family of England, most would have you believe that they have it made in the shade with lemonade. And to be fair, they honestly do at times. Between their wealth, power, influence in the world at large, and their fame that makes them instant icons from the moment of their birth, there's a lot to enjoy when you're a member of the family. But for some, it's been a struggle almost from the word go, as Prince William will tell you. His life has been anything but simple and luxury-filled. Allow us to reveal to you the tragic details about Prince William. be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 7. The golf club incident. Let's start off with some childhood trauma that honestly can be described as kids playing too hard. In 1991, Prince William suffered a depressed skull fracture when a friend at Ludgrove Prep School accidentally hit him in the forehead with a golf club. The then 9-year-old Royal's injury required surgery and 24 stitches, and he reportedly stopped taking golf classes afterwards, which, under the circumstances, yeah, that's justified. Though it should be noted that by the time he made it to university, he was back swinging clubs. So clearly, he got over it in part, but not in full. To this day, William lives with a reminder of the incident in the form of a small scar on his forehead. I call it my Harry Potter scar because it glows sometimes. The prince quipped while meeting a young royal fan in 2009, referencing the famous lightning bolt-shaped scar that popular boy Wizard sustained after surviving Lord Voldemort's attempt to kill him as a baby. He added, "And some people notice it. Other times, they don't notice it at all." While that may be one heck of a story, it's one that many would happily live without, especially a member of the royal family. Number 6. Diana and the divorce. Arguably one of Prince William's biggest traumas in life had to be with his mother, Princess Diana. When she was married to his father, Prince Charles, it was considered the wedding of the century. There was a feeling of magic and wonder in the air as Diana came down the aisle in her flowing wedding dress. Everyone liked Diana. Well, almost everyone. Charles and Diana first announced their separation in 1992, when William was just 10 years old. Given their popular union and the royal family's historically fraught relationship with divorce, however, it was several years before they made the split official. The divorce and everything that came with it was honestly as major as the wedding, because everyone wanted to know why. Diana was very much the people's princess, and Charles seemed to be fine up until things got ugly. And even if you ignore what they went through with each other, think about William. He was still a boy when everything went down, and there's no way he understood the media and politics of it all. And then, things got worse. Number 5, the interview. You might be thinking of a certain other event that was bound to happen to Diana that would lead to more pain for William, and we'll be getting onto that. But there was one thing that happened before that. Diana opened up about what was going on with Charles, and it was ugly. Airing on BBC One's Panorama, one of the most memorable moments came when Diana was asked if Camilla Parker Bowles, Charles' then alleged mistress and now wife, played a role in the breakdown of the union. Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded, she infamously replied, in what amounted to a bombshell accusation of infidelity, especially for a member of the royal family, which, if you can't tell, is not something any royal family member wants to have, especially in regards to one of their spouses doing it on a major news network like BBC. According to royal biographer Katie Nicholl, William was reportedly mortified by this deeply personal interview. To William's horror, Nicholl explained in her biography, Kate, the future queen, she also spoke candidly about her affair with former lifeguards office James Hewitt, a family friend who had taught William and Harry to horse ride. In addition to many of his peers watching the program, William was hounded by paparazzi. Nicholl added it was a difficult start for the schoolboy prince. That might be an understatement. Again, he was a kid when this happened. Him hearing that his mom was not only in a ruined relationship with his father, but that both sides cheated on the other, then having to deal with media and others, that's just beyond the scope. And you had to think that William was begging for it all to stop, which it did in the worst way possible. Number 4, the death of Diana. To this day, the death of Princess Diana is one of the most shocking, horrifying, and confusing deaths in the history of the world. It happened in August of 1997. Diana and her boyfriend were in Paris having dinner and decided to try and escape the paparazzi by using a decoy car. They were still followed by paparazzi, who chased them into the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, where their driver lost control of the car and crashed. William, who was only 15 at the time of his mother's death, memorably marched along with his brother, Prince Harry, behind his mother's coffin during her funeral procession on September 6th. The moment was understandably difficult for the teenage royal. "It was one of the hardest things I've ever done, that walk," William revealed during a 2017 documentary, Diana, 7 Days, via Harper's Bazaar, adding that he felt Diana's presence at the time. "It felt like she was almost walking along beside us to get us through it." There's a lot of questions that people wanted answered about what really happened that day. So much so that a major conspiracy theory that still is talked about is whether the Queen herself had something to do with the death of Diana, given all that the beloved princess had done to the family. We'll likely never know the full truth outside of the fact that Prince William was not without his mother at the age of 15. Number 3, living with the loss. Regardless of whether you're royalty or not, the loss of a parent is a hard thing to go through. They're there one day, then they're gone the next. It's a terrible tragedy. But for Prince William, given the random and chaotic nature of his mother's death, it was something that stuck with him for years, both on a personal level and on a daily basis via people wanting to talk with him about everything that happened. 20 years after the event, William decided to open up about it. "I think when you are bereaved at a very young age, anytime really, but particularly at a young age, I can resonate closely to that. You feel pain like no other," William explained in the 2019 BBC One special, A Royal Team Talk, Tackling Mental Health. "As you know that in your life, it's going to be very difficult to come across something that's going to be even worse pain than that. But it also brings you so close to all those other people out there who have been bereaved." And by his own admission, something that also hurt was when he was starting to have a family of his own, and the feeling of his mother came bubbling back to the surface. "Having children is the biggest life-changing moment," William revealed. "When you've been through something traumatic in life, that is, your dad not being around, my mother dying when I was younger, your emotions come back in leaps and bounds because it's a very different phase of life, and there's no one there to kind of help you. A hard thing to live with indeed, and the rest of life wasn't much easier." Number 2, dating a royal family member. As you likely have guessed via the marriage and departure of Harry and Meghan, dating a royal family member is anything but a simple thing. And for Prince William especially, he had to constantly deal with the paparazzi hounding him and his wife Kate Middleton when they were dating, to the point that he basically called it harassment. This wasn't a random phrase he used though. He noted that for his mother, she hated the intrusive paparazzi more than anything. "I believe she cried more to do with the press intrusion than anything else in life," the prince said of his late mother. Sadly, his wishes would not be granted, as a French magazine got an explicit picture of Kate Middleton while she was sunbathing on her private property, leading the two to file suit against the magazine. Number 1, his kids. It's natural for a parent to worry about the safety of their children, but for Prince William, he has all the more reason to worry. Because aside from the invasive paparazzi, he has to worry about the threats against him in terms of them being taken, used for ransom, and more. All royal family members have security for their children, but he also wants to make sure they don't have to go through the same things he did, which was quite a bit as we've shown you. He's had a hard life, and he doesn't want them to have one too. So, what do you think? What do you think of this look at the life of Prince William, of the royal family? Did you know about all of these hardships before watching this video? Or did you learn more about what made Prince William the man he is today? Do you understand now what we meant about being a royal family member isn't all luxury? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.